Hello everyone, and today is the day we're going to look at this Dig Dug Cabaret machine. So I've had this for several years. I actually personally imported this from the US. This is a US only release, and I think it's either 400 or 500 of these cabinets were made, so it's actually very rare. It's possibly the only one in the UK. I don't know anyone else who's actually imported one of these. And it's never worked. The internals have been completely ripped out and destroyed, so it's going to need a hell of a lot of work. I mean, the cabinet overall is in nice condition, good control panel, good marquee, very nice glass. I've actually got a brand new NOS glass for that as well in the box. Never even opened that. So let's see if we can get this thing working. Well, I think we're going to have to go through and basically do everything: monitor, board, power supply, wiring, the whole lot. So it should be quite interesting to get it all done. Let's crack on and start. Hello everybody, and today's project is this Atari power brick. It's going to go into my Dig Dug machine. It needs quite a bit of work, needs a bit of clean up, but most importantly there is no rectifier, and this capacitor has leaked to the point where I can't even see the screw terminal anymore. So I'm going to have to probably cut these crimps off, put new crimps on, new capacitor, new regulator, check everything else out, clean it up a bit, and that should keep me busy for a while. So I think this capacitor was a bit past its life. Look at the state of that. I've got a nice new high quality reefer. These are super long life. These, I think the shelf life is about 10 years, and then you've got something like 14 years of active life. So those are really good. I'm going to put some new crimp terminals on this and fit that. Okay, so that's the new capacitor in, negative terminal connected. I've just finished re-crimping all the ring terminals on the positive side. Couldn't find a screw the same thread, but I managed to find this one off a pinball machine. That seems to be the right one, so I'll have to use this hex one instead. New bridge rectifier, need to find something, should have a screw to mount that with. And then I just basically want to check over everything else, make sure it's alright. Okay, the transformer block should be ready now. I've done all the fuses, cleaned everything up as best I can. There's a bit of this corrosion on the metal, but I'll have to actually sand that down, probably with a wire wheel or something to get that off. It's clean enough. New capacitor, let's just flip it over. Sorted out the wiring under here, so we've got new bridge rectifier, new crimp terminals, and I've gone around with a meter and tested everything out, make sure there's no shorts, make sure everything that's supposed to be wired is wired. So in theory it should work, but we all know what theory does. So one problem I've got with the Dig Dug cab is that the previous owner seems to have lost the power wiring loom. So basically everything that comes from the brick to the AR2 is missing. So it's been sourcing the connectors, so that one goes on here. I've got the incoming power for, that's the 5 volt side, and this is the 12 volt -5 side over here. And also that needs a mains lead attaching, and that goes in there. Got my crimp pins here, and got reels of cable up there, so I have to start making one from scratch. Okay, and that's the power part of the harness done. So we've got the connector to go onto the AR2. Oh, don't do it one-handed. That goes there. That's the monitor power wire. Got myself tangled up here. This is the power brick connector. And then this connector here feeds power into the other wiring harness. So this is the other Dig Dug harness. And let's just see if we can connect that. Oh, wrong way up. There we go. So that is all the powering wiring done. And I almost forgot, the last thing I've done is I've put a new edge connector on the main wiring loom. Okay, and the last power related job I had to do was to make this new mains lead for the cab. So there we go, mains plug on one end, it's got the crimp connector on the other end, it's a 0.84 Molex, and that goes into the Atari power brick. So basically we'll plug that in and grab my meter, and we're ready to go and test the voltages that are coming out of the power brick. Okay, and now we're looking at the back of the cabinet. So we've got the AR2, and we've got the Atari power brick, the mains lead is connected, there's the PCB end of the loom, and this is the new power wiring that I created. As you can see, it's actually a fairly good fit, so I just need to basically clip it down the side, tidy it up. That's the power going up to the monitor. I've just sort of tidied it up there now out of the way. So what we're going to do is pull all the connectors off the brick and just make sure it's actually putting out the correct voltages before we actually connect up the AR2 properly. Once we've done that, we'll then go through the same stage and verify the AR2 is putting out the correct voltages. And then after that, we can then safely plug a board in. There we go, see the meter probes are now in the output socket and my meter is connected up, and we're going to go and plug it in and see what happens. Now it's a bit hard to see as it's too dark in here. We're actually getting 14.3 volts DC unloaded on the main DC output. I'm just going to check the AC ripple on that as well. Again, hard to see, but we're getting 4 millivolts AC ripple, so that's absolutely fine. Very high quality capacitor in there, so I didn't expect any less than that. Okay, and that's the main 5 volt line connected to the AR2. And you can see we're getting 4.7 volts. Needs a bit of an adjustment because it needs to be closer to 5. There we go, just over 5 volts. It's probably going to be slightly less than 5 after we take into consideration the voltage drop in the loom. But that's nice and stable. I'm just going to leave that running for a while, just make sure nothing horrible happens, and then get ready to plug a board in soon. I also need to put a monitor in there because currently we just got an old Handtrex tube with no chassis, so I'm going to get a Wells Gardner monitor out of the garage and hopefully that should work. And that's the 120 volt AC being tested in a rather unsafe way for the monitor.